Analysis paralysis. When overthinking kills action. You sit down to watch something, 30 minutes later, you're still scrolling. You've read every description, checked every rating, and watched nothing. You stare at a restaurant menu for 10 minutes, then order what you always get. Sound familiar? In a famous study, shoppers were shown 24 flavors of jam. Lots of people stopped to look, but almost nobody bought anything. But when the options dropped to just 6, people were 10 times more likely to buy. More choice didn't help, it froze them. This is your brain on too many options, and it affects way more than jam. And it's not just small choices. People stay in the wrong career for years because choosing a new one feels impossible. They stay in the wrong relationship, the wrong city. Not because they're happy, but because deciding to change feels harder than staying stuck. What analysis paralysis actually is. Analysis paralysis is when thinking becomes a substitute for doing. You're not being careful, you're not being thorough, you're stuck, and the longer you think, the harder it gets to move. Psychologist Barry Schwartz calls it the paradox of choice. We assume more options mean better outcomes, but his research shows the opposite. More options lead to more anxiety, more regret, and less satisfaction. Nobel Prize winner Herbert identified 2 types of decision makers. Maximizers need the absolute best option. They compare everything, they research endlessly, they agonize over every detail. Satisficers pick the first option that meets their criteria, good enough, and they move on. Maximizers versus satisficers. Life satisfaction score from Schwartz and colleagues. Maximizers scored 5.5 out of 10. Satisficers 7.6. The people who settled were happier. The irony is hard to miss. The people who didn't chase perfection ended up more satisfied with their choices. Why your brain freezes? The root cause isn't stupidity, it's fear, specifically the fear of regret. Your brain isn't trying to find the best option, it's trying to avoid picking the wrong one. Kahneman and Tversky proved that losses feel roughly twice as painful as equivalent gains feel good. So when you're choosing between options, your brain fixates on what you might lose by not picking the other one. Every option you don't pick feels like a loss, even if the one you picked is perfectly good. That's why people with more options end up less happy. It's not the choice that hurts, it's the phantom of what could have been. The Gem study by Iyengar and Lepper. Percentage of shoppers who actually purchased with 24 options, only 3% bought. With 6 options, 30% did, 10 times more. And more information doesn't always help. Past a certain point, it actually makes decisions worse. You start second-guessing, you find contradictions, you lose sight of what matters. Perfectionism whispers, just a little more research, one more review, one more comparison, but that little more never ends. You're not getting closer to a decision, you're running from one. You're waiting for certainty, but certainty almost never comes. Not before the deadline, not before the opportunity passes, not before life moves on without you. And there's another force working against you, decision fatigue. The average adult makes roughly 35,000 choices a day. Every single one drains a little willpower. By evening, your brain is exhausted. A study of Israeli judges found they granted parole 65% of the time right after a meal. But as the day wore on and decisions piled up, that rate dropped to nearly zero. When the brain gets tired, it defaults to the safest option, which is usually do nothing. How to break free. Jeff Bezos asks one question before any decision: is this a one-way door or a two-way door? One-way doors are irreversible, those deserve careful thought, but two-way doors, you can walk back through them. And here's the thing most people miss. The vast majority of decisions are two-way doors. You can change your mind, you can adjust, you can try again. Try the 2-minute rule. If a decision won't matter in 2 years, don't spend more than 2 minutes deciding what to eat for lunch, which email to send first, what color shirt to wear. Just pick. Set a decision deadline. Parkinson's law says work expands to fill the time available. Decisions do the same thing. Give yourself a week to choose, and you'll agonize for a week. Give yourself an hour, and you'll decide in an hour. Limit your options to 3. Seriously. Research consistently shows that 3 options is the sweet spot. Enough to compare, not enough to overwhelm. Choose good enough on purpose. This isn't giving up, it's strategy. Satisficing frees your brain for the decisions that actually matter. Save your mental energy for the one-way doors. Here's a rule from military strategy. Once you have 70% of the information you wish you had, decide. Waiting for 90 or 100% means the moment has passed. Because imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. A wrong decision teaches you something. No decision teaches you nothing. A good decision made quickly beats a perfect decision made too late. Speed matters, especially for small decisions, because they compound. 100 decent decisions will always outperform 10 perfect ones. Here's what most people never calculate. The cost of not deciding is usually higher than deciding imperfectly. While you're weighing options, time passes, opportunities close. Life moves forward without your input. And here's something worth knowing. Studies on deathbed regrets show the same pattern over and over. People regret the things they didn't do far more than the things they did. The trip not taken, the conversation not had, the risk not risked. Next time you're stuck, ask 3 questions. Is this reversible? Will I care about this in a year? And the hard one. Am I gathering information or am I avoiding action? Be honest with yourself. You already know enough. You already have enough information. Now decide. The path becomes clear after you start walking, not before. The risk of a wrong decision is preferable to the terror of indecision. That's Maimonides, writing over 800 years ago. And his message is as true now as it was then. If this helped you think about decisions differently, subscribe for more research-backed insights on the mind, behavior, and living well.